Having trouble getting traction with your goals? You know what? Every good movie has one special thing: an award-winning soundtrack. Have you ever stopped to think you have a soundtrack for your life, and maybe that's what's holding you back? Having trouble getting traction with your goals? You know what? Every good movie has one special thing: an award-winning soundtrack. Have you ever stopped to think you have a soundtrack for your life, and maybe that's what's holding you back? Hello, welcome to Coffee Talk. Just fixing up a little bit of coffee here.
Nothing like coffee and brie and cranberries. This morning I thought we might just have a little talk. Yesterday we had church service, and while I was sitting there getting ready for church service, something that I was doing, I was going through my music binder. Now, I praise sing, I play piano, I've directed music departments, and on a small scale. But I was looking through my songs in my binder, and it was so interesting because I was looking at the songs that used to work in Texas. The ones that were just, they would break through in a service. Or songs from Texas that would really move my heart. And I began to notice I was singing less and less of those songs. But I was singing more and more of the songs I came to know here in Illinois. And I really began to ponder about that. I don't know about you, but I can stare at the most random object and start deeply thinking about it. But I got to looking at it and I thought, it's so interesting. In 2 years' time, the songs that speak to me have radically changed. And as we push forward into a new season of our life, it is incredible how many things change and how many things actually need to change. I know there have been times, there are certain ties that try to pull us back into a former state of being or a former season. It's almost like, I have an active imagination. But it's almost like your past is this really gooey, sticky taffy that's been sitting out in the sun. Have you ever done that? Have you ever dropped like Laffy Taffy on the asphalt and let it sit for a minute, and then you try to pick it up, and those fibers just reach and they stretch and they don't want to let go? Sometimes stepping into a new season is like that. Those tentacles that have intertwined around you from that former season are holding you, and you really have to pull forward to get them to let go, for you to cut those ties and those ropes that want to hold you to a former self. You see it all the time. Somebody who comes to the Lord and they want to start life anew. There has to be that pulling to the future. You've got to pull yourself out of those entanglements. Anything that you're doing, new career, a new way of eating, a new way of living, any kind of goal that you're pressing toward. Yes, you're going to have the constant climb of that, but you've also got to pull against the ties from that past. And there is an incredible book. I love to recommend books on this channel because I love to read. But there's an incredible book called Pull to the Future by Reverend J.T. Pugh. And it is several articles that are put together. Each chapter is a different article. And it's an incredible book. I've read it about 4 times, and I've learned something new every single time. But something that has always bothered me, I am an English major, have my graduate degree in English literature, and it always bothered me that the book was called Pull to the Future, because prior to this life change that we have gone through, to me, it only made sense to say push to the future, because you're pushing forward into new territory. But the more I have experienced this life change, I realize, no, sometimes you're having to pull because you're pulling against everything from the past that is holding you. It's trying to hold you back and say, no, 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 this is the comfortable. This is the familiar. And you have to say, no, I'm getting out of my comfort zone. I'm getting out of what's familiar, and I'm going to embrace a new season in my life. And thinking about that and looking at that music binder yesterday, I realized to be able to pull to the future, the songs that worked for you yesterday will not work for you today. Different seasons call for different songs. And I'm not just talking about the songs that you hum through the house every day. No, no, no. I'm talking about the soundtrack in your brain. The voices that you listened to yesterday will not suffice today. The voices that were comfortable in a former season are not the voices you necessarily need to hear in your ears today. Why? Because they were specific to that season. They were helpful in that season, perhaps. Or maybe they were the detrimental voices that were keeping you in that season. But if you want to pull forward and do something new in your life, you need to be feeding your spiritual and your inner man with the voices that are going to propel you into the right season. You are 90% the people that you listen to. You are 90% the people you hang around with. And if you continue to hang around with people who cannot seem to break out of an old mold, you won't either. You've got to find people. Welcome. This is Sylvester. Say hello. You've got to change your mental soundtrack. That means listening less and less to the old voices, listening more and more to voices that are taking you where you want to go. It's a different song. It's a different song for a different season. And so I challenge you. I hope that I get to be part of your soundtrack for your latest endeavor, which I hope is clean eating. He just won't go away, will he? But find yourself some good mentors. Find some good people to listen to that encourage you. And they don't act like that taffy pulling you backward. It's a different season. Today begins a different season. It's time we pick a different song and a different soundtrack. You guys have a good day. Say bye.